If you are new to kettlebells, this is where to start. Boy, these are all the secrets. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Kettlebell Guys podcast. My name is Grant Anderson. I will be your host on today's pod. And today, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about where to start if you are getting started on your kettlebell journey, where you have an outcome you want to achieve. Most guys want to, lose weight, get in shape, burn fat, build muscle, and you have this inkling that kettlebells could be the answer. I was talking to a guy yesterday who actually ended up signing up for Kettlebell Transformation, and he was like, I have this inkling that kettlebells could be the answer, but I have no idea where to start. I have no idea what to do. I don't know what exercises to do, how to progress, or how to maximize, working out with this tool. And so my whole goal of this podcast is to give you guys clarity of how you should approach kettlebell training if you're just getting started, and then how you should view it, where you should start, and how to progress. So let's make a couple assumptions here first. So the assumptions that have to be made if you are listening to this podcast is that you want to achieve a certain outcome, right? You want to, lose weight, burn fat, build muscle, get in shape, like we mentioned. You want to be able to do it with kettlebells. So I'm assuming you want to be able to do it either from home, or you just don't want to be tied to a gym. The thing we say in KT is that we eliminate the gym. We don't even need the gym. We only focus on stuff that guys can do from anywhere, from home usually, because as I'm assuming if you're listening to this, you're a guy who's busy. You either got a busy job, you got a family, you got social events, you've got a lot of things that beg for your time and your attention. And so spending 2 hours commuting to and from a gym, waiting on equipment, going to a gym, going to a packed gym, it just does not work for you. So if you're listening to this, I'm assuming you want to be able to train from home. So you want to train with kettlebells, you want to train from home. And the other thing I'm going to say is you don't just want the outcome. So you don't just want the outcome of like, oh man, I really want to lose weight, but you want to do the work. I'm talking about this a lot. It's the start of the year, right? If you're just listening to this now, if you're listening to this later, I'm recording this at the beginning of January 2025. And you have to want to be the guy who wants to do the work. A lot of guys, I've talked to plenty of guys who want the outcome, but they can't quite fully wrap their head around the work that has to go into it. And so you have to understand that, okay, you're going to commit to training. Like our guys in KT, they commit to training 4 days a week, every week for the rest of their life. Like that's the commitment. I always say that to guys, like that's the contract you are signing with yourself. Like it's not going to be perfect. Obviously you're going to have weeks where you are on vacation or you're hyper busy or whatever, but your goal, your ultimate goal is that you train 4 days a week, every week, 99% of the time, for the rest of your life. That is the agreement that you make to be a guy who is in shape. And you have to, on some level, you have to want to do that work. Because if you just want the outcome and you don't want to actually do the work, you don't want to embrace doing the work, you don't feel this craving of like, okay, I want to become the guy who wants to do that work, it'll be really hard for you to get the results you want. And it anything I say from here on out won't matter because you won't have the desire to be the guy who just wants to do that stuff. And if you are listening to this right now and you're like, man, Grant, I understand that, but like, I haven't had a good experience with working out in the past. I've never been consistent and whatnot. Like, listen, what you've done in the past is not like what I'm going to explain to you right now, because the way we set things up for guys in KT and the way I'm going to explain this to you is it's a singular roadmap where you can clearly see the progress that's in front of you. I think what happens for a lot of guys is they start working out or riding a Peloton or whatever it may be, and they're sweating every week, but they don't actually enjoy what they're doing and they don't see the progress they're going to make. And so when you don't enjoy it and you're not actually seeing progress, you can't see where you're going to be in 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 16 weeks, 52 weeks, and you can't see that progression. It's no wonder you start and stop. It's no wonder you have a day that's a bad meal that turns into 2 days, that turns into a full weekend, that turns into a full week, that turns into a month of being off. And I haven't worked out, since, 6 months ago. It's because you didn't actually have a plan that you liked doing and that you could see, oh boy, if I find a way to stick with this, I'm going to go where I want to go. And it's actually enjoyable. I actually like doing it because it makes my body feel good and I get stronger and I see all these results. And so if you're listening to this and you're like, I've never been able to do that before in my life, well, I can promise you that you've never been set up in a system. You've always just been told to go work out or to go get your cardio in or go, and you didn't like any of that to start with. And so this is very, very, very different. And as long as you can just still want to be the person who works out consistently, then this could be a complete shift for you to find a different way of doing this stuff long-term for the rest of your life. Now, Okay, so we have those assumptions out of the way. We know who you are as a guy. You know your outcome that you want. You want to train with bells. You want to be able to do it from anywhere. You want to be able to do it from home. You want to have that freedom. Don't want to be tied to a gym, and you want to do the work. So now, the way you need to view kettlebells, let's talk about how do you view kettlebell training? Okay, I want to get started with kettlebells. I want them to be my solution. So the way that we view it is kettlebells are a 6-level system. Level 1 is swings and get-ups. Level 2 is one-hand swings and cleans, front squats. Level 3 is snatches. Level 4 is pressing. Level 5 is double snatches. And level 6 is clean and jerks. Okay. So you've got 6 levels. You've got the exercises that are within each level. And the way we view these 6 levels is we view it as a singular roadmap, one singular roadmap that has those 6 levels, that has specific skills that you're learning, that has goals within each skill, that has strength goals, endurance goals, and it has a very clear path forward to progress. It has a clear path forward because the thought process is if you go through this entire roadmap, when you come out the other end, it's the thought process of like going to college, right? You go to college for 4 years, you come out the other end, you have a degree, you have a skill that you can then go put towards the marketplace. So it's the same idea here. Is you view this is how we view training differently than people view like working out, like going to the gym and sweating 3 times a week. But like if that gym shuts down, then what? Then what are you going to do, right? So you go through this roadmap, you learn these skills, you build some capacity, you build some physicality, understanding like building strength, building endurance. And I'm going to break down all that stuff here in a second. But every single level has very specific goals and milestones in each individual level. And so that's the first way of viewing it. Okay. And you have to rewind if you want to go back to the exercises that are within each level. Now, once you understand the path forward and you understand all of the things that you can do with kettlebells, because if you go on Instagram right now, you're going to see 1,000 different influencers doing 1,000 different things. And you're going to see all these different exercises and you're going to be confused and be like, well, where the hell do I start? That's where we start. 6 levels, very specific exercises, like less than 10 exercises that you can build your exercise toolbox with if you go through this path. Okay. So now, after you see the clarity of the path forward in front of you, then there's 3 different levels that you have to achieve, or 3 different, how do I want to say this? 3 different things that you have to build over time. There's like 3 different things that you have to acquire within each level. That's the word I was looking for. And so the step number 1, the first thing you have to acquire is you have to acquire the skill. So you have to acquire the technique. You have to understand that, okay, there's 1,000 different things that I could do with kettlebells. But if I'm going to follow the roadmap that Grant's laying out here, step number 1 is doing swings and get-ups. Kettlebell swings, 2 hand swings, 2 hands on 1 bell where you swing it, and Turkish get-ups, that weird exercise where people are laying on the ground and then they go to standing and then they get back down to the ground. That's the 2 foundational exercises, because if you get great at those, if you become a master at those exercises, every other exercise beyond that is kind of built off of that core, that foundation, right? So, okay, my first step then, I know level 1 is swings and get-ups. My first step is I have to acquire the skill. I got to acquire the technique. I have to feel confident that I can do swings and get-ups every week. And when I do them, my body feels good. I'm not running into pain. I'm not running into injury. I'm not worried about tweaking something. I just know that I have the skill of doing these exercises so that once I have the skill, then I can train them consistently. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, then beyond the technique, the skill, is building strength. Okay, and a lot of I'm going to clarify this for you guys. A lot of people, when they think about building strength, they think about a guy in the gym who's doing a bench press or a squat or a deadlift, and he's struggling through the movement. Like he's barely being able to lift the bar, and he's really pushing really hard, and he's like looking like he's hurting himself, or he's doing a deadlift and you're thinking in your head, boy, doesn't that hurt your back? That is not what I mean by building strength. That is not what I mean. So that's the farthest thing from it. What I mean by building strength is that you have to understand that the kettlebell training, inherently kettlebell training, is movements and skills and exercises that make your body feel pretty good. Like if you've ever done heavy deadlifts and you've done kettlebell swings, you know that kettlebell swings feel pretty good on your body. They feel pretty good on your hamstrings, on your hips, on your back when you do them the right way. And When you get stronger, what that means is you objectively can do that exercise with heavier weights. So when guys get started in KT, one of the first things that we do is they have a kettlebell starter pack. Usually they're going to have a 35-pound bell, a 44-pound bell, a 53-pound bell, and a 70-pound bell. And their goal with us, usually in the first 4 months, sometimes it takes a little longer, is to get to a 70-pound bell for swings and get-ups or heavier. And a lot of our guys will achieve that in their first 4 months. And some of you guys listening to this are thinking, well, that's not that heavy. And some of you guys listening to this are thinking, that's insane. Like, that is crazy heavy weight. I had a guy today who's in his second month with us. I said, your goal is the 70-pound bell in your next 4 months. And he said, that's insane. That's crazy. And so some of you guys are like, that would be wild. But I can tell you that if you've actually done step number 1, which is your form, your technique, your skill, step number 2, building strength, that will just slowly happen. It will adapt over time. I think there's probably been no guy, I bet there's been no guy that's gone through kettlebell transformation, I have to think about this, that has not hit a 32 kg bell had they followed the plan long enough for swings and get-ups or heavier. And it is a level of strength. It is a level of confidence. It is a level, if you go back and listen to old podcasts, Sean and I talk about this a lot, but it is just a level of competence and confidence in your own training and working out of like physical movement with your body that is unmatched. That is like it is something you cannot buy, you can only earn. And it is something that is, the feeling is, it is incredible. It is something that you will not find that feeling anywhere else in life, anywhere. And that's why we're so focused on getting strong. That's why we are probably the only kettlebell focused coaching company that really touts and talks about guys getting strong. I think there's tons of kettlebell options out there from a workout perspective, but I don't see them talking about getting strong, throwing around heavy weights as much as our guys do. So that's step number 2. Okay. Strength. So step number 1, skill. Step number 2 is strength. You have your starter pack of bells. Your goal is to get to the 70-pound bell for level 1 exercises. Okay. Now, step number 3 is endurance, is building capacity. Ways to think about this. If I could do, let's say, 100 swings, I could do 10 sets of 10 swings with a 70-pound bell, and I can do that, say, in 20 minutes. Well, ways that I can build my endurance, I can build my capacity, is over time, I could go from doing 100 reps in a single session to doing 200 reps. Or I could try to increase the number of reps that I'm doing per set. So instead of only doing 10 sets of 10, I could try to do, 10 sets of 20. Or I could try to decrease the amount of rest that I take. So instead of doing 100 reps in 20 minutes, I might do 100 reps in only 10 minutes or less. And so those are the 3 ways that you can build endurance and that you can build capacity. But from our point of view and from my opinion, it doesn't make sense to worry about endurance at all if you don't have a foundational level of strength, because what comes with strength, it comes like confidence. What comes with strength is confidence, where you can throw around heavier weight and you're never worried about your body. You're never worried about tweaking something. Your body feels good. Your technique feels good. And guys will say this, that when they start using heavier weights, it almost locks in the technique a little bit more, because you feel what it's supposed to feel like when you're using, like if you've ever done swings, if you've listened to this, you've only done swings with a 25 or a 35-pound bell, I can promise you that if you get your technique right and go to a 70-pound bell, it will be a completely different experience than swinging a 35-pound bell. It'll be a completely different experience. And then you'll feel that much more confident to go and do a hard workout where you're focused on timing or you're focused on taking less rest. You're fatiguing yourself a little bit more. You cannot go into an endurance style workout unless you have the confidence that when your body's fatigued, you're going to be able to hold technique because you have the strength to do it. And so that's why step number 3 is endurance. Step number 2 is strength. And step number 1 is your technique and your skill. Okay. And so the way we view it from a programming standpoint, boy, these are all the secrets. So you guys want to know what we do inside of KT, this is it. So there is the skill acquisition phase. So for instance, when a guy comes into KT, there is 2 weeks of onboarding, right? So 2 weeks of teaching the skill, making sure your skill and your technique are right. Then we do a progression phase. So that's a 16-week program. That is, so if you think of level 1 skills, once you acquire those skills, then you need to train those skills for a long enough period of time for your body to actually adapt, for your body to feel good, for your body to feel strong, for your body, because a lot of you guys listen to this, you're saying, I want to get strong, I want to build muscle, I want to lose fat. Well, you have to be consistent with not with a ton of different things, with only a few things. You got to eliminate everything else and focus on the essentials that are going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. And then you have to be consistent with those over a long enough period of time to where your body actually adapts. And so we do a 16-week progression. And then after that, we will do a 6-week bridge. So in the progression, we're really focused mostly on level 2, which is the strength portion. There's some endurance, there's some capacity, there's some natural endurance that's going to happen in that just from doing kettlebells. Like if you do 10 to the 10 kettlebell swings, it's not just strength. Like you're going to get a lot of heart rate action in there as well. And anyone who's done that with a 70-pound bell or heavier knows that. And so over that 16 weeks, you're going to be building strength. You're going to be building endurance. You're going to be focused on leveling up, getting stronger, setting PRs, adapting to heavier weight. And then once you go through that, you're going to have what's called a 6-week bridge. And what we call a bridge is two things. It is the bridge between level 1 and level 2. Because in order to go into level 2, you have to go back down to the step number 1, which is acquiring the skill and acquiring the technique of the next exercise in your lineup, of the next exercise on your roadmap. And so we do a 6-week bridge where the goal of that 6 weeks is number 1, to acquire the skill and technique of the next thing. So if your level 1 is 2-hand swings and get-ups, your level 2 is 1-hand swings, cleans, and front squats, you're going to be acquiring the technique of that. And so that's not focused on strength. It's not focused on heavy bells. It's focused on acquiring the skill. But the second thing that you can put into that 6-week bridge is you can put specific endurance goals or endurance adaptations for the skills that you've already mastered. So the skills that you mastered in level 1, you're going to be working now endurance focus, much more endurance focus when you do the 6-week bridge to fully get into level 2. So as a bridge, you go through a 16-week progression. A bridge program is going to teach you the next skills in the lineup, and then you're going to focus more on endurance than you are on strength of the skills that you already know. And the cool thing about that is that you can just rinse and repeat that process all the way through this roadmap, all the way through the 6-level system until you get to the end. And by the end, if you've been working, this stuff compounds, right? So level 1, when you go to level 2, it's not like you're not going to be working the level 1 skills at all. When you're in level 2, you're working the skills of level 1 and level 2. When you go to level 3, well, then you're going to be working levels 1, 2, and 3. Those are all going to be incorporated as part of your workouts, your daily training regimen. And so over time, it's kind of like I said in the beginning, it's building this toolbox. It's building this skill. I always tell guys, when you come to KT, our goal is to help you acquire the skill of training with kettlebells, acquire the confidence that is training with kettlebells the right way. And the only way guys feel confident is that they know the technique, they have a baseline level of strength, they can literally walk into their garage or their house or their basement, they can go to their training space, they can see the kettlebells lined up along the wall, and they can think to themselves, I'm 110% confident that I know exactly what to do with those hunks of iron over there to take care of my body and to keep my body feeling strong, feeling good, maintaining the body composition that I'm after. And I know what to do for the rest of my life. And when you go through a singular roadmap like this, it's got 6 levels, skills in each level, goals of each level, and you get to the end of that, you truly get to the end of it, which, to be honest, is like a 3 to 4 year process of really getting to the end. If you can go through that, what happens is you come out the other end and you are confident that you've acquired a skill that will impact 30 plus years of your life. Because if you're 30 or you're 40 or you're 50, well, you have 50, 40, 30 plus more years in front of you. You have a lot of years in front of you. So that is years and weeks, 52 weeks in a year. So that's 52 weeks times 4 days a week of training. That's 200 plus workouts every single year, right? You have 1,000 plus workouts in front of you, 500 to 1,000 plus, or more than that probably. I don't know if my math's very good there. So you want to feel confident that you know what to do for the rest of your life. That is the point. And so kettlebells are this unique tool, this unique way of taking care of yourself that makes it so simple. It's so simple to break down what you need to do. Acquire the skill, build the strength, build the endurance. And it's so easy to understand. Okay, if I look at all the exercises I could do, here's all the random stuff. and I break down, okay, what are the essentials? What are the ones that if I learn these ones and I actually go through the process of getting strong and building some capacity there, well, then it would make everything else easier. Because here's another way to think about this. You might be thinking, okay, well, that's only like 10 exercises, Grant, but what about all the other ones that I see people doing? Well, you probably see fitness influencers that have been doing nothing but working out for the last 10, 15, 20 years. And I can guarantee you that they all got strong in these first 10 movements, that they got strong in these basics, the essentials, before they went and did all the juggling or the around the world or the all the single leg exercises, all the jumping and twisting and all of that stuff. There's nothing wrong with any of that stuff. I can just promise you that all the people you're watching do this crap, they went through a process of going through the basics and getting strong with the basics. They already went through this. And so if you really want to get to the point where you can be as confident as they are and do all that other stuff, well, then you have to start where they started, which is what I'm talking about here, which is eliminating all the fluff, all the BS, and just focusing on the basics. And guess what? You could spend a lifetime focused on the essentials. I have spent the last 10 plus years of my life training the essentials, training these 10 exercises and a handful of bodyweight ones. You could go your entire life just going through this roadmap, acquiring the skill, and then knowing, okay, this is how I take care of myself. This is how I keep my strength, how I keep my endurance, how I keep my joints healthy. Just 10 exercises or less. You could do it for the rest of your life because there's an unlimited way of combining the exercises, of work to rest ratios, of building strength, of building endurance. Unlimited. You could never, ever do all of it in a lifetime. I promise you that. So if you are new to kettlebells or you believe kettlebells could be the answer, you see kettlebells, someone's telling you about bells, someone's telling you they're so great. And so you have this idea of like, okay, I want to train from home. I want to train with kettlebells and I just don't know where to start. This is where to start. Give yourself the permission to not focus on everything you could be doing, all of the super advanced kettlebell crap that you see on the internet. Just focus on the basics. We view it as a 6-level system. And then take yourself from focusing on one level at a time, build skill, build technique, then go build strength. Give yourself enough time to actually build strength, and then focus on endurance. And the way we view it from a specific standpoint, our guys train 4 days a week, 30 to 45 minutes per session, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. And it is a very specific roadmap. And so our guys go 16 weeks when they progress and they focus on strength mainly. And then they go 6 weeks when they focus on learning new skills and really pushing the endurance side of things. And they do that. They rinse and repeat at every single level for that. And if you actually go through that, I can promise you, you would come out the other end and you would have a skill, a life-changing skill that would impact your physicality for the rest of your life. And that's the last thing I'll say about this is you definitely want results right now. I'm assuming anyone listening to this wants results right now. Like you, in the next 6 to 12 months, you want to lose weight. You want to look in the mirror and see a different guy. I can pretty much promise you that if you're listening to this and you're thinking like this, I'm looking for some sort of solution. You want the results now. I get that. But the ultimate goal is that you live the life that you want to live physically when you're 65, when you're 75, when you're 85, when you're 95. And so you have to acquire this skill now. Like you have to acquire this stuff as soon as possible, because the sooner you acquire these skills, this mindset, this identity, this understanding, and then this level of consistency and execution in your life, the better your life is going to be 30, 40, 50 years from now, in the years that right now you might not be thinking about, but you need to be thinking about, you should be thinking about. Because you don't want to get there and then just think to yourself, damn, like, why didn't I just focus? Why didn't I just work out consistently when I was younger? Why did I let all those excuses win? And that's probably another podcast for another day. So I know you want results right now, but the other thing to think about is where do you want to be when you're 80 years old? The life you want to live, the physical ability you want to have. And in my opinion, there's just no better way for guys to express that, for guys to own that, for guys to have that than kettlebell training from home, because you never have an excuse not to do it. And you are mastering a few skills, confidence in a few skills away from a lifetime of health and physical freedom. If you can just get yourself over the hump of really taking this on and learning these skills and really having them become part of your life. All right. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps. I hope that gives you guys perspective into how we view kettlebell training. And if you're new, I hope this gives you, you can listen to this a couple times and really write it out. This is how we view, guys progressing, everywhere from a beginner, never seen a kettlebell before in their life, to becoming an absolute kettlebell ninja, kettlebell legend, following a system like this. All right. Hope that makes sense. Hope you guys have a fantastic year. It's January 2025 right now. It's going to be I know it's going to be the best year ever for me, for kettlebell transformation. 2025 is going to be one for the record books, and it's going to be a big turning point, I think, in our legacy, KT's legacy. And I think that for you, for your health, it could be a huge turning point for you as well in your legacy if you choose to embrace the hard work. With that being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.